Right now, there are two completely different real estate markets happening at the same time. One where homes are sitting for months with zero traction, price reductions, and sellers wondering why their home isn't selling. And then on the right, we have homes that are getting multiple offers within days of going on the market. The only question is, which market is your home in? And that answer has nothing to do with the neighborhood, and it has everything to do with what I'm about to show you. I've been selling real estate in Atlanta for years, and I have watched this split get wider and wider every single month, especially so far this year. The sellers who understand what is driving are the ones that are winning. The sellers who don't understand, or worse, they are hiring the people that don't understand what's happening in this market, are the ones that are dropping their price every 2 weeks and watching their leverage literally disappear day by day. So if you own a home in Atlanta, or maybe you're thinking about buying one, then stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which market you're in, what's driving the split, and what to do about it before it costs you a ton of money. And let me give you the honest state of this market before we get into it, about what's working and what isn't, because context really is everything here. Atlanta is not a bad market, not even close, and I want to be clear about that from the get-go. Homes are selling every single day here. Well-positioned homes are still in demand, and especially in Atlanta's core neighborhoods. But here's what the data is also telling us. Days on markets have increased, meaning how many days on average does it take for a home to get an offer on it? And buyers are taking their time, they are negotiating big time, and they're comparing every option available to them. So this is no longer a speed-driven market. And here's the number I want every home seller to pay attention to right now. Nearly 40% of sellers in Atlanta have already cut their prices, and a huge chunk of those homes currently on the market have been pulled down and relisted. So meaning they pulled it off the market because it didn't sell in the fall, so they pulled it in November, and now they are relisting it for the spring market, hoping that more buyers are in the market and that their home is finally going to sell for what they wanted. But here's the thing. That strategy, it didn't work. And now you're starting over with less leverage than you had the first time around. This is not a market problem. This is a strategy problem. And strategy problems have solutions, but only if you're willing to be honest about what's actually going on. So, with that being said, let's just have an honest conversation, okay? So don't be mean to me in the comments. The first reason why homes are sitting is because the price is built on a memory. A lot of sellers in Atlanta, and really I would say the US, watched what happened between 2020 and 2022. They watched neighbors sell well over asking price in a weekend. They saw values jump by 20 or 30%, and they have that number locked into their head, and you cannot tell them any different. And they are pricing their homes based on that memory instead of what the current market is actually doing. And here's the problem with that. Buyers are not operating on memory at all. They are operating on data. Before they book a single showing, they already know all the comparable home sales in your neighborhood and what those homes sold for in the last 90 days and how many days were on the market. They literally know more than most agents do. They have done the math on their monthly payment, and they know what else is available at their price point. And if your number doesn't hold up against that math, they don't call you, they don't come for a tour, they just move on to the next listing. Properties priced more than 5% over a realistic market comparable tend to sit past the 90-day mark and ultimately sell below their original list price. We all know this. Not slightly below where they started, below where they would have sold had they just priced it right from day one. And I want to say something directly to the sellers who are padding their price right now. Adding $10,000 or $15,000 on top because you want room to negotiate, and I know you're doing it because I hear it all the time. Stop it. That cushion you think you're building in is what is actually pushing your home into the wrong category before a single buyer ever schedules a showing. You are not creating negotiating room. You are creating hesitation, and in this market, hesitation is an absolute killer for you. And here's the part that makes overpricing so devastating for so many. It's not about the money you leave on the table. It's about what happens to your negotiating position every single week that you sit on the market. Buyers start wondering what's wrong with the house, and they assume you're going to come down eventually, so they will wait you out. I see it all the time. Or worse, they come in with a lowball offer because they know you're tired. The leverage you had on day one, so that fresh listing energy, that first weekend of showings, it disappears and you cannot get it back. Price it based on what has actually closed recently in your neighborhood. Not what you hope it's worth, not what Zillow says, and not what your neighbor got in 2022. What buyers are actually paying right now. That is the only number that matters. The second reason homes are sitting is because buyers are walking after they do a home inspection. And this one is costing sellers deals that they thought they had. And it's happening to the sellers who haven't properly prepared their home before listing it. Listen to this. At least 1 out of every 5 homes that currently have contracts on them in Atlanta are being terminated, often due to inspection concerns for the buyer. Here's what's happening. Buyers are already stretched, and they're doing payment math in their head before they ever walk through your door. When they love a house and they make an offer, there's a real emotional investment there. And then the inspector hands them the report showing that the roof is at the end of its life, an HVAC system that hasn't been serviced or touched in 10 years, and water intrusion that maybe was painted over instead of properly fixed. And they have to make a major financial decision about whether they want to take all of that on top of their mortgage. And most of them are just saying no. And honestly, I don't blame them. Here's what I tell every seller I work with before we talk about anything else. You have to walk your home as though you are a home buyer. Look at the big systems. When was the roof last looked at or replaced? When did the HVAC system last get inspected or serviced? Are there any water stains on the ceiling that you've stopped noticing because they've been there for years? Those things that you've gotten used to are the things that are going to show up on an inspection report and absolutely kill your deal. And here's something I genuinely recommend. Get a pre-listing inspection. It'll cost you maybe $700 before you ever put the home on the market. And I know it sounds counterintuitive. Why would you pay for a home inspection on your own house when a buyer's going to get one anyway? Because it puts you on the offense, not the defense. You know exactly what's there before a buyer's inspector finds it. And here's the thing, you can then decide what to fix, what to disclose, and how to price on your terms, on your timeline, without the pressure of a deal on the line. There's no surprises, no panic, no buyer walking away 3 weeks into a contract because something showed up that you didn't see coming, and then you've lost 3 weeks on the market while they did an inspection. Like, you will already know what's there. Fix the big stuff before you list it. Or if you don't want to do that, price the home to clearly reflect what needs attention and let a buyer who knows what they're getting into make a fair offer. What doesn't work is hoping that the inspector won't find it, because they will always find it. The third reason homes are sitting is because the home feels like a project. And listen, this is different than deferred maintenance. I'm not talking about the things that are broken. I'm talking about homes that are completely functional. Everything works, but nothing has been updated since the 1980s, and the seller is pricing it like it's move-in ready because they're comparing their home to the one down the street that was completely renovated that sold for top dollar in 2022. Here's what happens when a buyer walks into one of those homes. I've watched it happen time and time again. They walk in, they start looking around, and before they've even reached the back of the house, the math has already started in their head. Kitchen, probably $30,000. Bathrooms, another $15,000. Flooring throughout, $10,000. Paint, fixtures, everything else, another $10,000. By the time they step out the back door, they have mentally added $50,000 or even $60,000 to your asking price before they've written a single word on an offer. Buyers in Atlanta right now expect homes to be updated and turnkey. Love it, hate it, it doesn't matter. It's just the way it is. And this doesn't mean you need to gut your kitchen, but it does mean you need to be honest about where your home falls on the spectrum from project to move-in ready and price it to reflect that reality. A buyer who walks in knowing that they have to do work and is fairly compensated for it will close. A buyer who feels like that they're paying top dollar and they have to put all this work into it for an unfinished product will walk away and they won't look back. So if you watched my condo nightmare video, you already know where I'm going to go with this next one. If you own attached housing, so a condo or a townhome, especially one built before 2010, the market you're selling in right now is extremely difficult, and it's even more difficult than it was even a year ago. There are 3 specific reasons for that. The first is just the monthly cost. HOAs have been climbing. When a buyer stacks a rising HOA payment on top of a mortgage and a current interest rate, the total monthly number can become a real deal killer for a lot of people. And it's not that they don't want the home, it's just the math stops working and they can see it. The second is competition. Builders have been rapidly building new attached housing, so townhomes and condos, especially along the Beltline. They have modern layouts, updated finishes, and builder warranties on just about everything. So when a buyer can choose between an older unit with dated interiors and climbing HOA fees versus the new units where nothing needs to be done and everything is under warranty, unless the older property is priced really, really well, meaning that that buyer can get a deal, they are choosing new every single time. The 5th reason homes are sitting is because distance is costing more than sellers realize. And this is for my sellers out in the northern suburbs, because this is the one that surprises people out there the most. A large home in a more affordable zip code used to be a clear value proposition. More space, lower price. Buyers understood that trade-off, and a lot of them were willing to make it. But things have shifted in a big way recently. Buyers today are doing a different kind of math. They're not just looking at the purchase price and the monthly payment. They are calculating the commute, the time, the gas, the hour more each way sitting in Atlanta traffic, and weighing it against what they want their life to actually look like. And when you combine a payment that's already at the top of their budget with the commute that costs them 2 hours of their day, the extra square footage stops to feel like a deal. This doesn't mean homes in the outer suburbs can't sell. It means that the price has to account for the friction that the location creates. All right, we talked about all the homes that maybe are seeing some challenges right now. Let's talk about what's actually moving in the market. Move-in ready, single-family homes that are priced right. This is the clearest, most consistent pattern I'm seeing across every price range I work in right now. Clean, functional, detached homes where the seller priced based on data and they prepared the home before listing are getting offers. Not bidding wars, not all the time, though I will tell you I am seeing more multiple offers, especially in the last few weeks as we kind of get real heavy into the spring market, but not all of them. But I will tell you, buyers in this market are decisive. They have been patient, and when they find something that actually makes sense, they are making offers. And the homes that are well prepared and properly priced are moving. Homes that are testing the market are sitting and taking price reductions. Listen, buyers are just exhausted. They've walked through enough overpriced homes with deferred maintenance and renovation lists that go on and on and on. When they find something that works, that's clean, it's honest, it's priced right, they just feel relief. And relief in a buyer turns into fast action. That is the home you want to be selling right now. Another type of home that's in high demand right now is one-level living. If you own a ranch home or a home where the primary bedroom is on the main floor, you are sitting on something this market genuinely wants and cannot find enough of. The demand for one-level living actually appeals to multiple buyer groups at the same time. You have downsizers, people planning for the long term, young families with small children who don't want stairs in their daily life. When one home speaks to that many different buyers and then there are not enough of them available, that's where you get real urgency, and these homes that are priced correctly do not sit, and these are the ones that are getting multiple offers. The other type of home that I am watching absolutely fly off the shelf right now is updated character homes, especially in town Atlanta. Limited inventory, minimal new development, and a sustained demand for homes that have character and don't look like the same house as every other house in the neighborhood are absolutely getting a premium right now. But here's the thing. The word that matters here is updated. Charm combined with a renovated kitchen, updated bathrooms, and maybe new systems. That combination is absolute gold right now. Charm alone, priced as if the buyer won't notice all the other work that needs to be done, it's not working. Those homes are sitting right alongside everything else right now. And hey, if you just want to have a real conversation with someone that knows the market without the pressure, then you can book a call with me personally. The link is in the first line of the description below. And hey, if you're not in the Atlanta area and you're just here for the good advice, I would appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. It helps me help more people like you. I appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.